Number 1. Cottage cheese, the forgotten powerhouse. A single cup carries around 25 grams of protein, which is more than 3 eggs for about $1. It is simply milk curds drained of most of their whey, one of the oldest dairy preparations there is, and it fell out of fashion in the 1990s for no reason other than diet trends moving on. Nutritionally, it never stopped being excellent. If lunch has become an afterthought, a slice of toast or a biscuit with tea, this is the fastest 25 grams of protein you can put on a plate with no cooking whatsoever. After 60, your body needs a bigger single dose of protein to trigger muscle repair than it used to, roughly 30 grams rather than 20, and skipping protein at lunch is the single most common gap I see. A bowl of this closes it in 30 seconds. Most of the protein in cottage cheese is casein, which digests slowly and releases amino acids over several hours rather than all at once. Studies looking at casein eaten in the evening have found it supports overnight muscle repair better than fast-digesting proteins, which matters because the overnight fast is the longest stretch your body goes without any protein at all. It also carries a useful amount of calcium and phosphorus. Eat it savory with black pepper, olive oil, and tomato, or sweet with fruit, and buy the plain rather than the flavored tubs, which are mostly sugar. A large tub runs about $2.50 and keeps a week. If the texture puts you off, blend it smooth and it becomes something entirely different, closer to a thick cream. The next one is a cousin of this that has been strained even harder, and it is stronger still. Number 2. Skyr, the Viking yogurt. A small pot carries about 17 grams of protein with almost no fat and half the sugar of ordinary yogurt. Technically, it is a soft cheese rather than a yogurt, strained so heavily that it takes roughly 4 cups of milk to make 1 cup of Skyr, which is exactly why the protein is so concentrated. Icelanders have been making it since the Norse settlements over 1,000 years ago. If breakfast is where your protein disappears, and most mornings are toast, cereal, or nothing, a pot of Skyr is the single easiest fix available. Spreading protein evenly across breakfast, lunch, and dinner produces measurably better muscle retention than getting it all at supper, which is how most of us eat. Breakfast is almost always the weakest meal of the 3. Because Skyr is a fermented dairy food, it arrives with live cultures as well as protein, and the straining removes most of the lactose along with the whey. That makes it noticeably easier on people who find milk troublesome, though it is not lactose-free. Research on fermented dairy and older adults has generally found favorable associations with bone density and muscle mass, though it cannot untangle the food from the diet around it. Buy plain and add your own fruit, because the flavored pots can carry as much sugar as a dessert. A single pot costs about $1.20, and larger tubs are better value at around $3. It keeps for a fortnight unopened. The next one is the German version of the same idea, and it is the cheapest high-protein dairy in most shops. Number 3, Quark, the cheap German secret. 100 grams gives you around 12 to 14 grams of protein for roughly 60 cents, which makes it one of the best value proteins in the dairy aisle. It is a fresh, soured cheese, unaged and unsalted, sitting somewhere between yogurt and cream cheese in texture, but with several times the protein of either. Central and Eastern Europe have eaten it daily for centuries. If you have looked at the high-protein yogurts and quietly balked at what they charge, Quark is the same nutrition without the marketing. It sits in the same fridge, usually costs half as much, and works in exactly the same ways. When food prices are the thing standing between you and eating well, knowing the unfashionable version of a fashionable product is worth real money over a year. Quark is made by souring milk with cultures and then draining, which concentrates casein protein and calcium while leaving most of the lactose behind in the whey. Like other fermented dairy, it carries live bacteria, and the calcium comes packaged with the protein and phosphorus that bone actually needs alongside it. It is nutritionally close to cottage cheese with a smoother texture. Use it exactly where you would use sour cream or cream cheese, whisked with lemon and herbs as a dip, stirred into soup off the heat, or spread on bread. A tub costs about $1.80 and lasts a week. Look in the dairy aisle near the yogurt or in European grocers. Right after this, the drinkable one, which does something none of these three can do. Number 4. Kefir, the drinkable culture. A cup carries about 10 grams of protein and, far more importantly, somewhere between 10 and 30 different strains of bacteria and yeast, several times the variety in ordinary yogurt. It began in the Caucasus Mountains, fermented in leather bags from grains that look like small cauliflower florets and are passed down through families. It is a genuinely living food. If you have been through a course of antibiotics, if your digestion has never quite settled since an illness, or if you simply feel your gut is not what it was, this is where I would start. The diversity of your gut bacteria measurably declines with age and with each round of antibiotics, and food-based cultures are the gentlest way to feed it back. It is also far cheaper than any capsule on the shelf. Kefir contains a genuinely broader range of microorganisms than yogurt because it ferments with both bacteria and yeasts, and several of those strains survive stomach acid to reach the colon. Human trials on kefir have reported improvements in lactose digestion and some markers of gut function, though the research is smaller and more scattered than the enthusiasm around it suggests. The protein and calcium, at least, are simply on the label. Drink a small glass daily rather than a large one occasionally, and start with half a cup if your gut is sensitive, because going straight to a full glass can be lively. A liter bottle costs about $3, or you can buy grains once for a few dollars and make it indefinitely from ordinary milk. The next one is a cheese, so hard and so aged that people with lactose trouble can usually eat it without a second thought. Number 5. Parmesan, the protein rock. 100 grams carries around 35 grams of protein, the highest of any common cheese, and roughly 1,200 milligrams of calcium, more than a liter of milk. Genuine Parmigiano Reggiano is aged for at least 12 months, often 24 or 36, and that long aging is what concentrates everything and creates the little crunchy crystals in an old wedge. Those crystals are tyrosine, an amino acid, crystallizing out as the protein breaks down. If dairy has started to disagree with you, this is usually the exception. During the long aging, almost all the lactose is consumed by bacteria, which is why heavily aged hard cheeses are typically tolerated by people who cannot drink a glass of milk. It also delivers enormous flavor from a very small amount, which matters when appetite and taste have both faded. Long aging partially breaks proteins down into smaller peptides and free amino acids, which makes them quicker for an aging digestive system to absorb. The calcium arrives alongside protein and phosphorus, which is the combination bone tissue is actually built from. The trade-off is salt, and Parmesan is genuinely salty, so it belongs as a seasoning rather than a snack if your blood pressure is a concern. Grate it over everything and never throw away the rind, which will give an entire pot of soup a savory depth if you simmer it for half an hour and fish it out. A wedge runs about $6 and lasts weeks in the fridge. Buy the real thing with the name stamped on the rind, not the powdered imitation. The next one is soft, mild, and the one Italian grandmothers give to anyone who is unwell. Number 6. Ricotta, the gentle rebuild. Half a cup carries about 14 grams of protein in a texture soft enough that it needs no chewing at all. The name means recooked because traditionally it was made from the whey left over after making other cheeses, heated a second time to capture the proteins the first process left behind. That makes it the one cheese built almost entirely from whey protein rather than casein. If chewing is difficult, if you are recovering from dental work or an illness, or if you are caring for someone whose appetite has collapsed, this is one of the most useful foods in this video. 14 grams of protein that requires no chewing and no cooking is genuinely hard to find. Protein needs actually go up during recovery, precisely when eating is hardest, and soft foods carry disproportionate weight then. Whey protein is unusually rich in leucine, the specific amino acid that acts as the trigger switch for muscle building, and older muscle needs a higher leucine dose than young muscle to respond at all. This is well established in the sarcopenia research, and it is the reason whey-rich foods punch above their weight for anyone over 60. Ricotta delivers it in ordinary food rather than a powder. Eat it spread thick on toast with honey, stirred through hot pasta off the heat, or simply with a little salt and olive oil. A tub costs around $3 and does not keep long, so buy small. Full fat has better texture and is worth it. The next one is not a food most people think of as protein at all, and it comes from your fruit bowl's neighbor.